today, this afternoon, I'm going to take you on a journey in the next 45 to 60 minutes to talk to you a little bit about data analytics and how we can use it today to enrich patient experiences. But most importantly, what I really want to do is I want you to walk away with some key learnings, some actionable insights, and kind of demystify this data word a little bit, because we all know it can get quite complicated and scientific, and it can, in some ways not applied correctly, can be more damaging than anything. So I'm going to step back a little bit in time and talk to you why I decided to talk about patient experiences and why that is so important. So if we think back to many, many, many years ago, there were things that what we used to do is we used to extract things out of the ground and we used to sell them on the open market. Hundreds and thousands of years ago. And those were things that we called commodities. And it was a great time to live. Really fabulous time, right? Because there was no currency involved, there was a barter system. You gave me something, I gave you something back. All about commodities. But what happened was things started to change and people started to realize if I took these commodities and I started to produce goods with them, I could actually get more for my commodity. And so we entered the realm of what we call the Industrial Revolution. It was a great time to live, and the people made lots and lots of money there, and they sold goods on the open market, and that was the time of the Industrial Revolution. But what happened? Goods became commoditized, right? Driven down by price. So what companies, people, organizations started to realize was if we customized a good, it became a service. And so we entered the predominant economic value of providing services. And people bought goods based on services. 24-hour delivery, a 5-year guarantee, etc., etc., etc. And so we entered, that was the predominant economic value for people purchased. But then what happened? Things started to change. And services became commoditized. And they truly did. Even long-distance cellular phone providers now, they're all driven down by price, price, price. So we had to think about, how do we customize a service? And when you customize a service, it becomes an experience. It becomes a memorable event. And that is the predominant economic value that we are living in today. People do not buy goods. People do not buy services. People buy experiences. Your patients come to your clinic, to your practice, based on the experience that they have. And what is so incredible about experiences today, being the predominant economic value, is that for every single person, it is a memorable event and it is different. Completely different. You will all walk away from this great conference and symposium today having experienced something different, completely customized. So I don't think this is going away for a very long time. This is the predominant economic value that we are living with, and I think it is here to stay. So let's focus on experiences and providing the best possible experiences. It is the age of the patient. This is the only thing that you should be systematically measuring and analyzing. What are their wants? What are their beliefs? What are their desires? What is their behavior? What gets measured gets improved. The patient should be at the center of your practice, at the center of your clinic. How many of you have an organizational structure? We all do, right? We all have organizational structures built around the hierarchy, etc. in our organization. How many of you have it in a circle and right in the middle is your patient, or your customer, or your shopper, or your consumer? Any hands? Or is the organizational chart, your patient, not even on there? Scary. We have to become completely and utterly obsessed with patients, like just obsessed with them. And we have to start to embrace emerging technologies, and emerging technologies that will help us ensure that the experience that our patient has at every single touch point along the process of their path to purchase is exceptional, absolutely exceptional. So we have to understand how to do this. How do we do this? It's easier said than done. And there's so much data out there which I'll demystify for you along the way. because you can really go crazy with the amount of information out there. But if you truly focus just on a few things, and something that I call actionable insights, and the word insight has been thrown around today like the word strategy, right? Everything's a strategy. Everything's an insight, okay? An insight is not knowledge. An insight is not intelligence. An insight is not information. An insight is a penetrating truth that you never knew before that will lead to a differentiated, competitive advantage within your organization, within your clinic, within your practice. That's what a true insight is. That true nugget. It'll completely disrupt and put you ahead of the curve. And a true insight will also help you acquire new patients to your clinics, will help you retain them, and also will help with advocacy. Advocacy is absolutely huge. And I'll talk a lot about that today when we'll talk a little bit about patient value as well. So remember advocacy. So here's the blueprint. There are 4 key steps. Okay, 4 key steps that you need to remember. The first one is your transformation. And we have to transform the patient experience. And the only way to transform the patient experience is to know what they want. So you have to have a systematic, measurable approach in place. Okay? I'll give you a few examples as we go along. The next stage is what we call the acceleration stage. Okay? This is your blueprint. 4 easy steps. Okay? You have to be where your patients are. Your patients are online. So accelerate your digital business. That'll provide way more adaptability, agility, and value to them. Third phase, embrace. Embrace what? Embrace the mobile mind shift. Canada has one of the largest mobile smartphone penetration rates in the world. Okay? In the moment. That is where when your patients need to get information or convey information, like in that immediate time, they're always on their phone. Okay. I'm going to give you examples of all of these. And the last one, I call it the turn, okay? And I will spend lots of time on this today because I'm very passionate about this, okay? Big data, okay? And turning big data into true insights and telling you what big data really is and how it can really help your industry is key. So let me explain a little bit more to you on the blueprint. Transform, accelerate, embrace, and turn. Let's start with the first one, transform. Systematic, measurable approach. Nobody has a more brilliant, systematic, measurable approach to their customers than Starbucks. Okay, we did some work for them in Seattle. They have got, I'm not joking, 72 metrics that they measure on an hourly basis across every single one of their franchise operations. Imagine that amount of data. It's incredible. But if you think about it, you don't go to Starbucks for great coffee. Like, honestly and truly, don't tell me you're really paying, like, you know, an extra 1,000% for a cup of coffee. You're going there for the experience, yeah? The barista, the free Wi-Fi, the customization, etc., etc., etc. You're paying for the experience. You truly are. And they know how to cater for that. So take, for example, the Cleveland Clinic in your industry. They have, I think they churn through something like on all their campuses about 220 patients an hour. 220 patients an hour. And they have an incredible systematic, measurable approach. And what's really great about this is they actually publicly publicize their results for everyone to see, which is really incredible. They measure number of metrics against patient measures, staff responsiveness, cleanliness, doctor communication, likelihood to recommend. Word of mouth is the best form of advertising, will always be. If you can measure advocacy, and I'll show you how to in a second, and you can measure the likeliness to recommend, that is the one of probably the most important metrics that will help you revolutionize your practice, your clinic, etc. And that you can see, they actually advertise. They really do. They publicize their results. Incredible, incredible. And they actually compare it to national averages. And that's why they offer such an incredible experience and have such an incredible name. They truly do. So moving on to acceleration and understanding how digital can absolutely affect your businesses and your practices and offer greater agility is really, really key. Let's talk about that. So the first thing I want to explain to you is how we can actually evaluate what we mean by patient value, right? What do you call value? Like, what is the value a patient can really get? Okay. In a very simple mathematical equation, and I'm terrible at math, my grade 6 twins come and ask me all the time to help them with their math homework, and I always say, I told you mommy's really bad at math. But anyway, I can't even do grade 6 math, but I run a research company. Scary. Okay, so patient value. This is as great as my math can get. Basic equation, okay? Benefits divided by cost. It is so simple, okay? If you want to increase value, all you have to do is decrease your cost, and automatically your benefits will increase, right? Because people value something by how much they paid for it. As simple as that. You all agree? Yeah? There's one major thing missing today. That's the old school of thought. And really what's missing is the love, the heart, the engagement, the emotional connection. That's actually the most important thing. Because how emotionally connected you are to a practice, to a clinic, to a brand, to an organization will really drive how much value you can get from that. And what's key is that the more emotionally connected you are, the more you can increase your price and the greater the benefits are. It's truly astounding. I mean, Apple have done this incredibly well, and quite a few other companies as well, really been successful. So if you think about, neuroscience, and I know some of you are doctors here, I'm not going to get technical, etc., but Antonio Damasio is probably one of the most incredible professors of neuroscience, and he really came up with this, a number of years ago, and it was never really applied in the marketing world, and we couldn't understand why. And yet this was a very basic statement, which is so true. We are not thinking machines that feel. We are feeling machines that think. But today's data is all collected and based on functional transactions, not what we call matters of the heart. But our decision-making is all emotional. No one's actually focusing on that. So here's my philosophy, and I talk a lot about this to all my clients and in all the speaking gigs that I actually do. And remember this. If you focus on share of heart, you will automatically get share of wallet. The reverse is not true. And honestly and truly, everybody reports, these big Fortune 500 companies report on their market share, report on their acquisition and organic growth of new customers. They all report on their share of wallet, how much their revenue has increased. It's really share of heart that you're really after. Emotional engagement that ultimately leads to the best experiences. And there are ways to measure this. Without going into too much detail, there's an index called the EEI, the Emotional Engagement Index, that can actually measure the affection and the emotional connection that your patients have to your practice or to your pharmacy or to your clinic, etc., etc. And it's been proven, we have proven this over and over again, that the key to boosting equity, the key to boosting your brand equity, because remember, whether you're a doctor, whether it's your practice, whether it's a clinic, you are a brand, is to increase the affection and that emotional engagement, because it's the emotional side of the decision-making process that creates that immediate connection and immediate interest. And whether you are buying a life insurance product or a box of cereal, believe it or not, I think it's the limbic part of the brain that fires off to the neocortex, etc. It's that emotional decision-making process that is involved in every single possible decision a patient, a consumer, a shopper, a customer makes today. So that is how we need to think about delivering patient value and measuring patient value. So moving on to the acceleration in terms of how can we actually accelerate our practice and deliver greater agility and patient value. How can we do that? So I love using this example because I was sitting in a meeting just over a year ago with a client, and everyone was like, it was about 18 months ago, and everyone was like, we have to develop an application. Okay, if you want to add value in your business, you've got to have an app. Got to have an app. I don't care. Build one, find one, do something. There's a million app developers out there. You can get them anywhere in the world now for, you know. Build an app. Just build one. There are 1.3 million apps out there. How many of them do you think are actually successful and really, really delivering true value? Right? How many? True value. So I'm sitting in this meeting with a client, and the client is Charmin. You all know Charmin? Toilet paper. Big brand of toilet paper. I'm sitting there, and they're saying, okay, we've got to develop an app. I'm like, you're kidding me. Okay, like, you're kidding me. Okay, it's a toilet paper brand. They're like, okay, we've got to figure out how we can add value to our customers, which will connect them somehow with our brand. And they did. And we did the research on it, but we came up with an incredible app that actually delivers true value. And it's called the Sit or Squat app. And you know what it does? Basically, you can be anywhere in public in Canada and you have this app on your phone. And how many times have we all been in public places and needed a washroom so badly? We're like, can't find a washroom. What the Sit or Squat app does is it will automatically depict exactly where you are and tell you where the closest public available washroom is. And it will tell you how clean it is. And after you finish there, we'll ask you to rate. And what actually happened was all these retailers and companies were thinking, this is one of the most incredible apps. I actually want to start to advertise my washroom because people will, in that area will be driven into the retailer, then there's impulse purchases, etc. I mean, incredible idea, right? Now, that is true value. Charmin is delivering true value to me. Think outside the box. Be disruptive. Think outside of your industry as well. Love this example. Extremely successful. How many of you are going to download the app when you get out of here? A lot of fun. Okay, let's move on to the next section, which is embrace. We need to understand the mobile mind shift and serve patients at their moment of need. It's really, really key. I don't know if you can read this, but this was on the Time magazine front cover. I absolutely love this quote. It says, millennials are lazy, entitled narcissists who still live with their parents. Any of you have millennials at home? Nightmares. But they'll save us all. They are the upcoming population. They are the ones that have the discretionary income. They are the ones who will determine whether you're in business in the future or not. Okay? And they are the ones that grew up on their phone. They don't know any different. Mobile is they don't know any difference. There's a brilliant YouTube video. I love this video. I can't remember the name of it, but you should have a look at it when you get a chance. And it's a 1-year-old who's just learned to walk. And he walks up to the TV, and his dad's like filming him, and he walks up to the TV and he goes like this. And he says, "Daddy, it's broken." And it's like, it's spelled because, when he was 3 months old and he could hold a phone or hold an iPad, like that's all they know. So we have to focus on that. We really and truly do. And there's so many different things that you can do, obviously, through mobile. There's many applications out there. One of the key ones, obviously, is remote patient monitoring. There's applications you can build. There's interfaces you can build, etc. But it is something that we have to embrace because I can tell you now, the millennials will demand it, and it will become a commodity. And if you don't have it, they are not interested. They will not be interested. They don't know any different. They truly, truly don't. So, last one. Let's talk about big data and how we can turn this into insights to continually improve our efforts and make a difference. I think I said earlier, I hate the term big data. It is one of the worst terms that was ever come up with. And I completely changed the term big data, and I call it opportunity data. And it needs to lead to an opportunity that will make a difference within your practice, within your clinic, within your organization, and within your business. Otherwise, data is useless, absolutely useless. Anyone know where that is? Any ideas? Yeah, pretty much, you're right. The Vatican, Rome, yeah. 2005, 2013, exactly the same place people are standing outside waiting for the new Pope to address them. Pope Benedict, 2005, 8 years later, exactly the same place. I think it's Pope Francis they're waiting for to come out and address them. It's 8 years. Look at the difference. In 8 years. Scary. Little flip phone. So that's big data. In case any of you don't know what big data is. That's big data. It is unstructured data that is produced by photos, video, satellite images, weather patterns, social media, any type of unstructured data out there today is what we call big data. And I'm sure you're probably not surprised, but that is what we create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data a day. A day. Can you imagine what number will be in 2020? And 90% of that in the entire world has been created in the last 2 years. It's what I call analysis paralysis. There's so much data out there. And everybody jumped on the bandwagon and said, big data, I'm going to get IBM and all these companies to come in and just, get some technology in and run all these algorithms and just collect all this data, but they have no idea what they're actually even doing with it. It is more dangerous that way. We have to demystify this, get down to that key nugget, that key insight that's going to make a difference within your practice. Because this is what's happening on a daily basis. This is what's happening every single minute. Every single 60 seconds. Look at those numbers. Incredible. 11 million instant messages. 700,000 status updates on Facebook in 60 seconds. 1,000 tweets. 700,000 Google searches. And 168 million emails being sent. In a minute. I'm standing up here for 60 minutes. Times that by 60. I told you I'm really bad at math, but times that by 60. Anyway, so remember that number, the 700,000 Google searches. Okay, because I'm going to come back to it a little bit further on. That's what's being created out there. It has to be an opportunity. It has to be an opportunity, data, to find new insights, to make your practice more agile, or to answer questions that were previously considered beyond your reach. It has to be something that you need to know and you weren't able to answer before. Otherwise, forget about it. Those are the 3 things that you need to know in order to engage with big data. So let me give you a few examples of some successful uses of big data, a little bit outside of your industry. You all know who Orbitz is. Orbitz is a great online travel agency. And they were scanning through realms and realms and realms of data. Obviously, they collect a huge amount of data, and they actually discovered something really interesting. But it was like people who were booking, customers, consumers who were actually booking hotels on the Orbitz website and actually came from an Apple device, so from a Mac device versus any other device, were always booking 5-star hotels. Always. Any other device, people were booking 3 or 4-star. They were like, wow, let's try something. Because we're able to recognize a device that is coming to our website. So what if we took this information and we said every single person who comes to our website, every single person that touches our website that's coming from an Apple device, because it's very easy to obviously understand where they're coming from, just serve them up 5-star hotels. Don't even bother with anything else. But recommendations and, booked in the last hour, just 5-star hotels. And they did this. And they had a double-digit growth within 2 months. Double-digit growth within 2 months. And they reduced the time on the Orbit site by nearly 40%. Little nugget like that of information. Love this example. New York City Police Department are able to identify crime hotspots just by using big data. So what they've done is they took past historical arrest patterns and they kind of cross-tabulated this with multitude of big data, so weather patterns, public holidays, transport delays, multiple other factors, all these metrics, and they were able to determine crime hotspots in terms of where the next crime will take place before it actually is going to take place, and actually send police there, all just through analyzing big data. So how can big data transform your industry, right? That's great, Corrine. We're not the New York Police Department, etc. What can it really do for us, for the healthcare, for the medical industry, etc.? Well, there's a lot it can do. It truly is. And I think we're only just on the cusp. But there are going to be radical changes within the next couple of years. I mean, Google are now starting to enter healthcare data analytics. We do some work with Google, and it's like incredible to when you actually visit their Mountain View location or their San Francisco location and see the things that are going on there. They're absolutely entering this market. And they put out a statement a while ago, and they said that they could save 100,000 lives in the next year once they have finalized and developed their algorithms and methodology using big data in healthcare data analytics. 100,000 lives a year. Wouldn't that be incredible? Truly incredible. So some of the things in your industry we're able to do with big data, we'll be able to detect diseases at earlier stages, we'll be able to combat or detect healthcare fraud, we'll be able to predict patients at risk for diseases. These are all incredible things that we can do with great healthcare analytics and big data. We'll be able to look at different types of financial data, operational data, clinical data, that's all out there, and match these treatments with outcomes. Incredible benefit to the patient. Incredible benefit. So here's what you can do to actually infuse some of these insights from big data into your practice. There's really three things that you need to do. Remember what I explained to you, that big data has to be able to lead to a differential change within your organization. It has to provide you with insights about something that you never knew before. What you have to do is start at the bottom and say, what do I want to know about my patients? What do I want to know that I don't know? And then work backwards and figure out the type of data that you need. But start at the question. So what does big data really mean to you? How can it fuel a real-time contextual question that will drive my business clinical practice forward? And how can it help me anticipate the most important thing, which are my patients' needs, their wants, their behaviors, their desires, so I can ultimately make a much better experience for my patients? So that's your blueprint. You need to have a systematic, measurable approach in order to make a transformational difference and differentiate yourself. You have to have the measurements in place first. You have to be able to accelerate and understand the digital touch points of your patients and implement them. You have to embrace your patients, the mobile mindset at their time of need, in the moment. Really, really key. And you have to turn big data into opportunity data. If it's not going to lead to an opportunity, forget about it. If it's not going to change anything in your organization, forget about it. Don't worry about it. It can cause more harm than anything. I'll show you a few examples. So let's talk a little bit about how we can apply predictive analytical tools. Because one of the greatest things is to be able to be predictive. We all want to have our tarot cards and our bowls, etc., etc. It's a lot of fun, right? We all do this through big data, predictive analytics. Wouldn't you love to know what your patients are going to want in the next 10 years? Can you imagine? You'd be ahead of the curve. Well, there's a way to do that, and I'm going to show you that today, but there's also a very, very dangerous way to do that, and I'll show you both examples today. So let's kind of explore the science of prediction, and sometimes the best way to actually explore it is actually to go through an exercise. So I think you all have a paper and pen. You all have paper and pen in front of you. You can take that out. I'm going to have 5 questions that I'm going to go through. And most of these questions came from a site called Predictive. It's a great site. You can all have a look at it. And what Predictive does, it's a prediction market method. And what I want to explain to you today, not to confuse you too much, is that prediction is what do others think. Okay? When you predict something, you're thinking, What do others think? When you're doing a polling method, you're thinking about what do I think? Okay. So some of these examples I'm going to give you today, it's a great fun exercise, is really, well, it's about prediction and you are actually predicting what others think. And what you can do on Predicky is you can go onto their site and you can type in a question and you can put a value attached to your question, like, you know, $100 per answer or something like that, and you get what we call wisdom of the crowds. The more people you have, the more accurate the prediction will be. It eliminates more of the bias. But let's play our game. Okay, I got 5 questions. If you can write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then next to those, you're going to write down the answers to these questions. And then you're going to swap sheets to get someone else to mark. Okay, so question number 1. Will income inequality increase in Europe in 2015? Okay, simple. Yes or no? Okay. Will income inequality increase in Europe in 2015? Okay. There's no right or wrong answer. You're predicting. What price will the base model Google Glass retail for in US dollars? Number 2. What price will the base model Google Glass retail for in US dollars? Number 3. The cost of lattes is predicted to increase by what % this year? 10%, 20%, or 30%? Can only be one of those 3. Kind of made it a bit easier for you, this question. Okay, number 4. What will be the range of electric cars in 2016? Here are your 3 choices. In 2016, will electric cars be able to go between 100 and 200 miles, 201 to 300 miles, or more than 300 miles? Next year, what will Elon Musk of Tesla be able to do? Okay, we're on number 4, correct? Yep. All right, last one. Love this one. This one didn't come from Predicky, actually. This one came from some work we did. It was based on a poll of 400 wine drinkers in the United Kingdom. And they were asked if they prefer red or white wine. So here's the question. What proportion of wine drinkers in the UK prefer red wine? It's actually a percentage, it should say. What percentage that I'm looking for of wine drinkers in the UK prefer red wine? All got your 5 answers? Okay, swap quiz sheets. Give it to your neighbor. The person next to you is going to mark this. Okay? There's no wrong or right. It's all predictive analytics. And what's really fun is to do this exercise. I've done it before where you're actually entering and you actually see the results coming up, but wasn't sure about internet access. Yeah, okay. Let's go through our answers. Will income inequality increase in Europe in 2015? Yes. Okay. Everyone that's got yes, give them 2 points. What price will the base model Google Glass retail for in US dollars? Okay, so here what I'm going to do, because that was a tough one, right? Is if you got between 500 and 549, anything under 550, give yourself 2 points. Okay, 1 point between 550 and 600. Some of you probably put $4,000. 0 points. Okay. Crazy, right? We're predicting. We're just predicting. The cost of lattes is predicted to increase by in 2015. 2 points if you said 30%. Yeah, yeah. Coffee beans are going up. Okay, 2 points for that one. And then our last one for 1 point only. Only 1 point, yeah. Range of electric cars. One to 200 miles. Okay, so last one. Now this one's really interesting. It was my favorite question. You'll see why in a minute. What proportion of wine drinkers in the UK prefer red wine? Okay. 54%. If anyone said between 50 and 60, you're getting 3 points. So here's the interesting thing before you swap papers. That's really, really interesting on that question. This is what I want to show you, how dangerous predictive analytics are. Okay? We did this exercise a few times, and every single time, hands down, there is a 20% shift in prediction by the order bias, by the way I asked the question. I asked you, what percentage of people in the UK do you think prefer red wine? Okay? Now, if I would have said, what percentage of people do you think prefer white wine? Look at that shift. 20% shift in prediction. Just by either saying red or either saying white. Those that, when I said red, red came higher. When I said white, white came higher. So dangerous, the way in which you actually ask a question. Really, really. So in the absence of knowledge, when we don't know, and we just predict the majority of other people will just do and think the same as us, is very, 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 very dangerous. The process of making predictions is absolutely littered with cognitive bias. We have to be very, very careful how we approach this. Oops, I went a bit fast. So no information to guide us. None of you had any information. Purely just predicting what other people can think can have huge, huge effects on predictive analytics. Not only that, but also our emotions can dominate and badly distort our predictions. Anyone here that was absolutely dying for a latte when I actually gave that, that example? I promise you, your percentage was probably lower. Okay, it's seriously what happens in our brain. It's crazy. Okay, so who's the best predictor in the audience? The maximum point you can get is 10. I have signed copies of my book, Wake Up or Die, to give away. So I'm not going to, anyone here got 10? Any 10s? Bad predictors, no 10s, okay. 9s? 8s? Oh my, okay. Anyway, 7? Okay, here we go. There's someone over there. Did you say you had a 7? There we go. Okay, I'll leave it up here for you. No problem. Okay, you want to get it now? There we go. 6. 6. 6. Over there. Okay, there we go. You can see the difficulty. I saw 3 or 4 hands for 6s. There we go. I think we got 1, 2. Not you.
I have to be honest.
You did. Okay. You guys are so honest. Okay. It's a fun exercise to actually understand how dangerous it can be. You're very welcome. 6. Okay. So there's, I think there's 3 left, and if I go down, there'll probably be lots of people. So you know what? I will leave them with Maureen or Anne, and can do a raffle or something, or 3 of you can get one. However you want to work that out. But anyway, so that's a really great way to truly understand prediction and truly how dangerous it can be. So let me give you a few examples now of how companies have used predictive analytics and different tools to actually predict their customers' future needs and wants, and have been very, very, very successful in doing this. Okay, a few examples. Amazon, phenomenal, phenomenal. Any of you that are customers of Amazon will know that every time you log on to Amazon, they will serve you up something that you actually, how did they know that I like Stephen King, you know? And not just from past purchases, but they look at ratings and they look at other past purchases and cross-reference you with people that you know on Amazon. Just like incredible. Netflix as well, right? By title, by genre, all predictive analytics, they will say, these are recommended for you. I actually heard about that yesterday. I wanted to watch it. It's like, they know who I am, okay? Any of you online dating? Any online daters here? There we go, okay. So, same thing, right? They're able to predict accurately, very, very accurately, who your best match would be. They're not always so good, but they generate different match percentages based on profiling questions and based on who you've seen, certain keywords in personal searches. These are great kind of industry leaders who have used predictive analytics. But the one I want to talk to you the most about really here in terms of predictive analytics is Google. Do you remember, I said you remember that number. Who remembered the number? How many Google searches are there every minute? 700,000. Okay, 700,000. So 700,000. What Google are able to do, okay, Google are able to, through all their searches, they can look at, remember, 700,000 searches every second. They can accurately predict the volume of consumers, patients, I should say, that are going to enter or walk into emergency clinics based on certain types of flu. Based on searches that patients or customers or surfers, whatever you want to call them, have done on symptoms of flus and types of flus. So they can look at the amount of searches based on flu symptoms and types of flus that are going on a daily basis. Google can accurately depict in 2 weeks' time the volume of people entering emergency clinics for flu-related symptoms. Incredible. Real estate. By looking at all the amount of searches on certain real estate in certain areas, they can accurately depict what percentage real estate will increase in certain areas. There's demand for that. Incredible what they can do. It's wisdom of the crowds. We can all have access to this information. Credit card companies are mining, deep mining, patients, credit card transactions, and are able to come up with great information and actually provide that to certain doctors, etc., or sell that information. Okay, I know there's certain privacy laws to help intervene for patients that are at risk. Here's what they can do. Let me tell you what consumer data tells you about our health habits. So if you're looking at credit card purchases at fast food outlets are starting to increase, okay? Big red flag. Weight loss, blood pressure risks, diabetes. Yeah, basic consumer data, right? Cigarette purchases. Patients that might have bronchial problems. Increased emergency room for an asthma attack. Basic stuff. Frequent purchase of large amounts of alcohol. Kids are driving me mad. No. Okay. Purchase of large amounts of alcohol. Possible depression. This is basic customer data. Imagine. This is what the future holds for us. It's what the future holds for our kids. We're going to get a call from our doctor, from the nurse. Why has your gym membership not been renewed? Yeah. They're going to know that. Hi, Ms. Sandler, can you tell me why you're buying increased amounts of refined sugar products? We've noticed like a 10% increase in candy and sugar products on your bills in the last 2 months. Holy shit. And now you're shopping at plus-size stores? Yeah. Your doctor, clinic, physician, all is going to have access to all this type of information. But think how exciting that is for your industry. What you can do with it, the difference that you can make is incredible. And this company was already doing that. Carolina's healthcare system. Have any of you heard about that? It's called the One Carolina. And basically I think it's North and South Carolina. They have about 900 different clinics, everything from emergency hospitals to private practices to, I think, age-old homes, all different types of healthcare, medical-related clinics, okay? And what they're actually doing, which is quite scary, but absolutely on the forefront, there's a 3-step process. They are purchasing data from brokers, This is real. This is happening right now. Okay, so when I told you about all that stuff, this is happening. They're purchasing data from brokers who are culling major, major public records. They're looking at store loyalty programs. They're looking at credit card purchases. And they're taking all that information and they're plugging this consumer data on 2 million people into different algorithms, okay, with data scientists working with them. And what they're actually able to do is to identify these high-risk patients and intervene before it's too late. It's happening now in Carolina. It's pretty scary, but it's where we all need to be. There are some companies that take it a little bit too far. Do any of you know the story about Target? I think it was 2 years ago. It's almost 2 years, and I still use this example because it kind of really resonates. For those of you who don't know it, I'll tell you quickly. But Target is probably one of the most, even though they're out of Canada now and it's really, really failed, but they're probably one of the most successful companies in predictive analytics based on their store loyalty program. And what they do is every single time you buy something, they're able to cross-reference all your past purchases, and they actually send you information or coupons to get you to purchase more or cross-purchase, etc., etc. They were one of the first loyalty store grocery chains actually doing this. I mean, they're all doing it today. So they've been doing this for about almost 20 years. But they went a little bit too far, okay? And there was a teenager who had a store loyalty program and was going in and buying many, many products. Of course, as a teenager, one of the key products you obviously buy were feminine hygiene products. And the next month, the teenager comes back to Target, and now she's not buying feminine hygiene products, but she's buying a pregnancy test. And all of a sudden, bing, red flag goes off in their system. And next week, the mail arrives at home, her store loyalty program, and her father opens it, and there are coupons for Pampers diapers and formula. Yeah? There was a huge, huge article, and like, oh my gosh, I mean, huge PR blunder for Target. The father found out that she was pregnant before she even told her parents. And that is how he actually knew. He was a data scientist, so he kind of was like, I know what's going on here. So you should read the story. So how far can we go with people's privacy? How much can we actually push the borders there? Today's millennials, it's really scary. They don't really care too much about privacy, I have to tell you. Okay, they really don't. I mean, I know Anne said I have 4 kids. I do, I have 4 kids. Okay, so I'm stir crazy sometimes, but I have 4 kids. And they are constantly on social media. And I say to them all the time, I say, what you don't realize, what you're putting out there will come back to bite you in years to come. I say to my son, Dylan, one day you're going to be, the Prime Minister of Canada, and there's going to be a picture of you, pulling your pants down. Like, seriously, guys, you have no idea how dangerous what you put out there in social media is available everywhere. And my daughter says, no, it's not, because Snapchat deletes after you've read it or after 1 second or something like that. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Everything you put out there is out there and is available to anyone. Seriously, anyone. So we need to be careful what we put out there. So predictive analytics will absolutely, predictive analytics will change care as we know it. Moving forward, will absolutely change care. Another great example I'll give you is what Samsung did. And the reason I wanted to use this example was because I know that some of you, obviously, who run clinics or do not sometimes have direct contact with your patient or direct contact with the customer or direct contact with the consumer, right? You don't. So what do you do then? Like, how do you collect some great information or truly understand relationship and experience, etc.? So Samsung has the same problem if you think about it, right? No one really buys direct from Samsung. They buy direct from retail outlets. So Samsung was really struggling in getting all the information. Best Buy, they have all the records on Corrine Sandler and all my past purchases. But Samsung has to wait for me to actually go and do my product registration. So they needed to truly understand a lot more about me and couldn't rely on their retailers. So what they really were looking to do is to connect, different ways of connecting, getting metrics so that they can change better their experience, etc., and really understand their customers on a much more personal level. So without getting into too much detail on the technology, but they used something very basic, which I want you to think about, because you guys can really utilize something like this. It's called their Jump Management Platform, and it's right across their website. And they implemented this in order to support 3 very simple goals. And it really resonated with me, and that's why I wanted to talk about it today with you. Build relationships directly with customers when they don't have those. Getting metrics, information, profiling data. Engaging with patients pretty quickly. And obviously increasing participation in their site. There had to be some sort of marketing objective in there. And all they did is what they really did was they implemented the Generain system. It's so easy for you to do. Get people when they come to your clinics, etc., to sign up, and the registration process is so long and boring and etc. All I got to do is just connect, sign in, one touch button. Okay? If you will give me, all of you, information to your Facebook page, back-end information, by clicking the link through the Generain system, I get all your information. I know everything that you've put on there. It's great information. And it's so easy for you guys just to connect and create an account. The same with Facebook, the same with Google+, Yahoo, LinkedIn, etc. It's being done all the time now, right? So when you're looking to get patients to register or collect information about them, get them to sign up through using social media and the back-end information that you actually capture, because they are giving you access to it. They are opting in. They are saying to you, I am allowing you to use all the information that I put out there. So simple. And what was Samsung able to do? They were able to identify through social identity what motivates them, their actions, predictable behaviors of their customers. All this information you would have access to as well, just by taking that small little step. So lack of patient data is not an issue. There's so much out there. There's so much you can get your hands on. There's actually too much you can get your hands on. Way too much. Okay. Real data is all about just accelerating the time to answer, reducing risk in your decision making, creating better experiences, achieving better fact-based decision-making processes. That's really all it's about. It's not about the volume and the velocity and how much you can get. It's about what do you need to make an incremental change within your practice, within your clinic, within your pharmacy. So I urge you to write down 5 things or even 3 things. What are your top 3 priorities for 2015 or for 2016? What are the top 3 priorities? And what information could you say, if I knew that, if I could know this, wow, what a difference I could make. And then work back into how you can collect that data. But start with the business question. Because data itself, big data itself, has absolutely no value. No value whatsoever. A collection of data is not information. A collection of information is not knowledge. Knowledge comes from insights, from interpreting data, from identifying patterns and predictive analytics. Okay? It's not about how much you have. It's about what you do with it. Validate it is something I know that was mentioned as well. Now, I developed this product because I'm in the research industry, and I had so many clients and even practices and sole proprietors that came to us and said, we want to do research. We need to understand. We have 5 ideas. We don't know which one to further develop. But you can't do that today unless you've got $30,000 to spend on primary research. Well, Validated allows the democratization of data, because now you can do that for $600 and get 100 responses through Google, based on Google, built on the Google platform. It's incredible. It's everything that you need to know is available out there. You just got to know how to use it and use it properly. So I have given you so much information today. Hopefully haven't overwhelmed you too much. What I really like to do is kind of really boil it down to 4 key learnings. My biggest wish today is that everybody always leaves my talk with at least some great key nugget of information that they can make actionable within their practice or within their clinic or within their pharmacist or within their organization. That's the most important thing. You've given me an hour of your time. Thank you so much for that hour. But please, the only way you can thank me is by using some of the information or some nugget of insight that I gave you today. So we'll start with wrapping up and saying data is the new oil. It will determine our currency. It will all be about how you actually make fact-based decisions. Not about hypothesis, quantifying that hypothesis. It is the new oil. The problem is, I mean, oil is in supply is kind of in is decreasing and information is increasing, right? But it will determine our currency moving forward. Experiences matter. If there's only one thing you're going to measure, it's the experience. Have a systematic, measurable approach. Become completely obsessed. Completely obsessed with your patient. Okay? Absolutely, completely obsessed. They're the only thing that matters. They pay your salary. They do. And with social media today, they can destroy you in 1 second. 1 second. Think about it. Right? Twitter, a tweet, what's it, 122 characters, 32 characters? I get that wrong sometimes. Can start a revolution. Can actually start a revolution. So be patient obsessed. Predict future needs and wants. But please be careful how you predict them. Our exercise proved the danger of prediction. If you're going to use predictive analytics, get the right people in and understand how to use specific algorithms. But you need to be able to be 1 step ahead of the next person. Okay. And finally, turn big data into opportunity data. Don't be scared of data. Okay? But use it for a great opportunity. And if you don't know what you need it for yet, then don't use it. Okay. So thank you. I hope you all had a great time. I enjoyed speaking with you and taking something away from this.